There are houses that welcome families with warmth, comfort, and safety. But there are also houses that whisper secrets, houses that watch you when you sleep. And then there are houses like this one, 657 Boulevard in Westfield, New Jersey. A dream home that became a nightmare. Not haunted by ghosts, not plagued by demons, but stalked by someone far more terrifying, someone who called themselves the Watcher. For many, owning a home is a symbol of achievement. It's the place where families grow, memories are made, and dreams come true. But sometimes, the walls of a house hold more than just drywall and wood. They can carry dark and dangerous secrets waiting to surface. The story of 657 Boulevard is one of those unsettling, chilling tales where the house itself seems to hold a life of its own. A house that waits. A house that watches. Would you dare live in a home where every letter in your mailbox is a threat? Where someone, hidden in the shadows, knows the names of your children and the exact rooms they sleep in? Tonight, we dive deep into one of the most chilling real-life mysteries of our time. The Watcher House. It was June 2014. Derek and Maria Broaddus, along with their 3 young children, believed they had found the perfect home. 657 Boulevard, a 6-bedroom colonial mansion in the quiet, wealthy suburb of Westfield, New Jersey. The Broadduses were living the American dream. Derek had a stable job. Maria was a stay-at-home mom. And their 3 kids were at that exciting stage where their future seemed limitless. They had worked hard for this moment. The neighborhood was safe. The streets were tree-lined and calm. A place where kids rode their bikes, where families gathered at barbecues. It was the kind of neighborhood where everyone knew everyone else. A community that felt like home. It was a place where their kids could grow up, go to school, and play without fear. To the Broadduses, this was the American dream. It was everything they had ever wanted. But their dream was about to curdle into something darker. A nightmare that would haunt them and change their lives forever. Because only days after closing on the house, the very first letter arrived. The first letter. Dearest new neighbor at 657 Boulevard. Allow me to welcome you to the neighborhood. 657 Boulevard has been the subject of my family for decades. And as it approaches its 110th birthday, I have been put in charge of watching and waiting for its second coming. My grandfather watched in the 1920s. My father watched in the 1960s. It is now my time. You don't know me, but I know you. The signature at the bottom? Just 2 words that would come to haunt the family forever. The Watcher. At first, Derek and Maria thought it might be a prank. A neighbor with a twisted sense of humor. Maybe someone who had too much time on their hands or thought it would be funny to send an odd letter to the new residents. But then a second letter came, and this one was darker. The second letter was the first glimpse into the true horror that awaited them. This was no prank, no joke. The Watcher knew things that no one should know. Details about their family, things that made them shiver with fear. The second letter. Have you found what's in the walls yet? I see that you have children. I've been told to ask you to bring me young blood. The Watcher described the children by nicknames and birth order. They knew details no stranger should know. The letters mentioned the exact rooms the kids would sleep in and where they could be seen from the street. Someone wasn't just watching the house, they were watching the family. The walls that were meant to protect them now felt like a cage. The letters were eerily specific, mentioning their daughter's name and where she would sleep. Even the location of their son's room and the layout of the house were outlined in terrifying detail. It was as if the Watcher had been inside the home, lurking in its shadows, studying it. The Watcher was not just writing words on paper. They were sending a message of control, of power. The Broadduses were terrified. Every time they checked the mailbox, a new letter seemed to be waiting for them, each one more sinister than the last. The letters were no longer just notes. They were threats, a game of cat and mouse, where the Broadduses were the prey, and the Watcher was always one step ahead. Derek and Maria went to the police, but their investigation went nowhere. Handwriting was analyzed. DNA swabs were taken from the envelopes. Neighbors were questioned. Everyone was a suspect. Was it the family next door? Was it the elderly couple across the street? Or perhaps the jealous neighbor upset about not buying the house themselves? No one knew for sure. The police couldn't find anything. They couldn't figure out who the Watcher was. The letters kept coming. A relentless, invisible enemy that was far too close for comfort. The fear turned into paranoia. They couldn't trust anyone. Every face became a mask. Every smile a potential threat. Who could they trust in a neighborhood they thought was safe? And the letters didn't stop. They mocked Derek and Maria directly. Letter reading. I see you've spoken with the police. Smart, but don't think they can protect you. The Broadduses were living in a constant state of fear. They couldn't sleep at night, always listening for any sound, any creak in the floorboards, any movement outside. Every shadow seemed like the Watcher's presence. Every car passing by could be their stalker. Every moment was filled with anxiety and dread. The Broadduses couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. They couldn't live in peace. The house, which they had once dreamed of, now became their prison. They stayed with relatives, all while paying a mortgage on a house they couldn't live in. It was a financial nightmare. Their dream home was now a haunted shell, a monument to fear. They tried to sell it. Who would buy a home with a stalker attached to it? No one wanted to live in a house that came with a terrifying mystery. Even when they lowered the price, potential buyers backed out after hearing about the Watcher. The Broadduses were trapped. No one wanted to deal with the risk. Who could blame them? The final letter. Where have you gone? Do you think you can escape me? The house needs young blood. It is waiting for you. The letters became more frequent, more specific, more threatening. The Watcher's obsession with the house and with the Broaddus family was endless. And it wasn't just a one-time thing. The Broadduses couldn't escape. Every time they tried to move on, every time they tried to find peace, the Watcher was there. In 2019, after years of torment, the Broadduses finally sold the house. They had to sell it at a loss. They had no choice. They had been financially, emotionally, and psychologically ruined by the Watcher. But even after they left, the letters didn't stop. The new owners also received letters. Fewer, yes, but the shadow of the Watcher still lingers. The house is still watched. To this day, no one has ever been identified. No arrests have ever been made. And the Watcher's words still echo in the minds of anyone who dares to look at 657 Boulevard. So, who is the Watcher? A jealous neighbor? A scorned bidder? A prank on too far? Or something darker? Something that has stalked 657 Boulevard for generations? What we do know is this. The Watcher is still out there, watching, waiting, lurking in the shadows. And the question is, would you dare live in this house? For more true crime and horror stories, subscribe to my YouTube channel as we explore the world of intrigues and obscurity.